Alright guys, so now that the 1969 Honda Z50 build is fully complete, 100% restored, we know that it runs now, so there's two final questions left. What did the build cost us? And what is it worth approximately based on market value? So I know exactly what it cost. Every single part that was purchased, right down to every last nut, bolt, and washer, has been documented, so we have that cost. So let's go through that and stay tuned in the end to see what the final number's at, and then look through on the marketplace and other classifieds to see what similar bikes in this condition are going for. Hopefully we came out ahead, but let's find out and see.
Alright guys, so here is the Excel spreadsheet I started creating back in November 2020 when I first purchased this bike. So I was on the market for one of these bikes for the better part of a year or two, and kept missing out on deals, and eventually I found one that seemed to be the one to buy. So I found the bike on Facebook Marketplace for $1,000, and that seemed a little high to me, but it's basically what they were going for. So I jumped on it. I made the drive to Grand Valley, picked it up. It was a almost complete non-running bike, but was not seized. And the guy had a lot of interest, so I bought it on the spot and then started buying parts, and eventually a year later got into the restoration. So the first part I bought was the brake and throttle cable set off eBay. That there was $100. I bought some handlebars off Amazon, which you'll see in my last videos, that I opted out from using them just because they did not look right. So I went for the more expensive correct bars. So $0 value there. I found the correct battery for this bike off eBay, brand new. It's in the bike now, but it does not have any acid in there, so I'm running it disconnected. I bought some fork boots off eBay, which I did not use because I ended up buying complete fork rebuild kit from Fat MX. From Amazon I have brake pads, front and rear, $39. Some other Amazon parts from the initial handlebars that I have not used, and I will be using on a different mini bike project instead. The correct Bridgestone TW2 trail wing tire. I bought one from Merle Distributing. That's the only one I could find. That was about $50. And quite a few months later, Fortnite finally had them back in stock. I bought a second one for $46. Eventually I came into Fat MX online. It's a local company. I believe they're in Oshawa, about 2 hours from where I'm located. I bought a taillight bracket, zip ties, reproduction taillight, handlebar holder. That's the nut, just one. I was missing one. Headlight bolt kit, the silver ID tag, rear fender mount, battery strap, chain guard, seat cover, warning decals for the exhaust for the tank, seat bolt, the steering stem nut, tank rubbers, 8-inch tire tubes, exhaust gasket, reproduction exhaust cover bolts, the OEM Honda valve seal for the exhaust side, Kickstarter, air filter, fuel line kit, the engine gasket kit, oil seal kit, brake hardware, and shipping. That came to a grand total of $689. It's a lot more than I was ever expecting to spend on parts for this bike, and that was not even the start of it. Later on, from Fat MX, I bought some engine case screws, the kit, ignition coil, ignition switch. I had the one from the bike, but it was missing the key, so it was costing about the same to buy the whole new ignition switch. New chain, the muffler guards, and reproduction fenders front and rear. With shipping, that was $281. I couldn't find the headlight anywhere locally, so I had to source that from eBay, and that was $226. The Honda fork leg kit, from eBay. Fat MX did not have them in stock at the time. That was $190. And that was the fork legs, including springs, the boots, all the bushings and hardware for rebuilding the stock forks. Another order from Fat MX was a spark plug cap, foot pegs, handlebar knob clip, another handlebar knob, the buddy pegs, kickstart shifter, rubber, steering bearing kit, the tailpipe for the exhaust, more engine parts, the aftermarket Kickstarter shaft, which you'll see in the engine build video, actually was not the correct one. It was in the correct packaging, but definitely not the right one for that bike. So fortunately, the good guys at Fat MX sent me the correct one at no charge and let me keep the wrong one, which I'll never use, but I have it now in case I ever figured out what it's for. The oil drain plug washer, chrome dipstick, 1 liter of engine oil, the exhaust collar, cam chain, tensioner bolt, and shipping, and that came to $340. And then paint. Epoxy primer was $88, and the silver and red paint came to a grand total of $270. A lot more than I ever expected to spend on paint for a mini bike. And another order here from Fat MX. That was the piston ring set, exhaust seal, cam roller, bolts and washer, Honda tappet cover, carb rebuild kit, just to go up to the exhaust seal that was for sealing the muffler to the tailpipe. Exhaust seal, that's a duplicate, zeroed that one out. The internal clutch cover screws, carb drain hose, clutch nut socket, that's a tool, so I did not include that. OEM bolts for the engine, wheel bearings, wheel hub, $80. That one there really hurt because I had a great wheel hub that came with the bike, and as I was trying to press the bearings out, I did not do it the right way, so I cracked that wheel hub, unfortunately. Sprocket washer, and with shipping, grand total of $361. Then from Canadian Tire, I got some VHD silver paint and clear coat. That there was $81, and I used those for the wheels and the engine covers. From Holy Gully, I bought something that I didn't need to, didn't realize I had it in a box already. I also bought silver levers, which I did not use. Those will be going on that other mini bike project I have. Another order from Fat MX, cam chain rod bumper, aftermarket Kickstarter shaft, and that was reimbursed because the one bought previously was not the correct one. And with shipping, that was $27. And then the last order here from Fat MX, some hardware, spark plug, and this is when I decided to buy the correct handlebars. So with the handlebars, $225, and hardware kit, and a few other parts here, grand total of $424. So once you add those all up, the very expensive build of $4,276.50 Canadian dollars. Ouch. That really hurt when I expected this build to cost no more than $2,000, but it's done. Alright, so moving on to the anticipated value of this bike. Just had a random number put there. Initially, I started this spreadsheet with an anticipated value of $3,000, which I thought was crazy at the time, that someone would spend $3,000 for one of these bikes. But that seemed to be what they were going for locally at the time. Anyways, I hope it's worth more than that $3,000 because, as you can see, that would mean I overspent by over $1,000. So moving on, let's find out what that value there actually is, or approximately what it would be. So we'll continue on with that. Okay, so here we are in Facebook Marketplace to see what kind of pricing we're finding for other similar bikes in a similar condition. So anyways, I searched for 1969 Honda Z50, and we are in Southern Ontario, Canada. And the first one that comes up here is a 1969 yellow. Looks to be in nice condition. In pretty comparable condition to mine. Does not specify if it's been restored or original. But anyways, they are asking 8,500 Canadian. Seems very high, but let's move on to the next ones. Next, here's a 71 with a 88cc bore kit. Bike looks very, very clean. However, it's a newer bike, 71, which I believe are not quite worth as much. And also, I don't believe that paint scheme is correct for that year. It's also missing the original air breather, from what I see there, and missing the Honda emblem for the light. Otherwise, that bike looks very clean and complete. And they are asking 4,500 Canadian. Moving on down, the 69 here. Looks complete. It does not have the original exhaust, which that exhaust alone is a few $100s if you were to replace. And the engine looks like it's in original condition with some surface corrosion. Wouldn't take much to clean that up. Anyways, runs and shifts well, no smoke, all lights work including high beam indicator. Was non-professionally repainted. It looks decent. Certainly not perfect. Listed new parts, and they're asking 3,500 bucks. Not a bad price, but again, the bike is definitely not a showpiece. And let's see if there's any more here. Another one, it's a 71. Looks to be complete. Little story on the bike here. And they are asking $8,095. Again, it's a 71. I don't believe those ones are worth quite as much. Bike looks to be either original or restored at some point. Not perfect. Also, same as the last one, it does not have the correct exhaust for the bike. A newer 76 there, and they're asking 4,000. And then a 71 for 2,200 bucks. Looks to be a solid bike, but needs restoration, missing the proper exhaust. Kickstart lever is not correct, no battery box. Definitely needs a lot of work, needs the correct fenders. Fenders aren't chrome there either. So it would need a couple $1,000 to get it into showroom condition. Anyways, I think that's it on Marketplace. I've checked Kijiji, and there is one that was on here, nothing else. So to add to that, I went to the Facebook forums and asked around with photos and videos asking what my bike would be worth approximately in the current condition, and I've gotten numerous different answers. One as low as 900, and I think he was being sarcastic, at least I hope. The highest being around the $9,000 US range, but the average seemed to be around 4,000 to 7,000 US is what most people said they would expect it to get if being sold. So anyways, all of that, I think the bike is worth at least what I've put into it, 4,500 Canadian, likely worth at least 4,500 US. So doing the math there, I believe current exchange rate is, if we can get that open, Current exchange rate is around 20 to 30%. So let's say the bike is worth around 4,000 to 5,000 US. Let's say 4,500 at a 30% exchange rate. That's about $5,800 Canadian. And based on other bikes here, the other 69s and up to 71s are asking anywhere between 4,500 to 8,500. So I think it's safe to say the bike is worth at least 6,000 Canadian, if not more. So going back to my spreadsheet here, if we put down a value of 6,000, which I had before, if I were to sell, which I am definitely not in any position to at this time, if I were to sell, I should make a profit of approximately $1,700 Canadian. Seems like a decent profit, but with the amount of time and efforts I put into this thing, it's definitely not worth it. It's working for a dollar, if that, per hour for my time that went into the bike. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you're looking to buy or restore one of these bikes, definitely be prepared to open your wallet, and don't expect this to be a cheap build or a cheap bike to buy, despite being such a small bike. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you watching these videos, and I hope you found some entertainment and value in them. If so, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and comment below with what more you'd like to see next time. Take care, guys.